Well, welcome everybody. What y'all got going on? This is Ms.B. Positivism. Y'all know what day it is. It's the first Sunday of the month, and I got my friend, my pal, Brenda Coles, and she has her friend, her pal, Ernest McBride. Welcome everybody.
Well, hello.
Good to be here.
Yes, it is. I like it. The man is in the middle. Look at here. Look at here.
Uh, and it helps to be in the middle between two women. Stop the fighting.
All right, everybody. This is Ms.B. Positive and Ms.B. coming to you live on Storm Talk 365 Radio. As always, the first Sunday of the month with Brenda Coles, the president of the National Action Network chapter in Richmond, Virginia, where she runs things, and even in West Virginia. But you don't want to mess with Brenda, but you do want to look her up and consider joining. We have a lot of things going on in NAN and a lot of things going on in the community and society in general. And you may want to look up what's going on in the Richmond, Virginia area as far as anything that's concerning civil liberties or just about anything. But Brenda's the one that you can go to. And her guest today is a journalist, Ernest McBride. We're going to introduce him in a minute. But for right now, again, you can find me at www.stormtalk365radio.com. And you can find us the first Sunday every month at 1 p.m. East Coast time. Look up Brenda Coles and the National Action Network. So, B, what we got going on today?
Hi, Ms.B. Hello. Happy Black History Month. Yes, I am so happy to be here today, especially with my very special guest.
And you know what? That's what I want to talk to you about. What inspired you to invite him to be a part of our broadcast today? I mean, you're usually talking about civil liberties and people in jail, out of jail, and kidnapping folks. What are we going to talk about? What made you decide to invite him today?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I met Ernest McBride it's been about 3 years ago. And first of all, let me say this. Although we're gonna be talking about history because it's Black History Month.
Yeah.
And let's go back to our roots. But let me tell you how I met Mr. McBride, though.
Okay.
One of the most dynamic people that I've ever met. Woo! And one of the nicest as well. I was working a case in Mississippi. Ernest is from Vicksburg, Mississippi. And I was working a case for Mississippi State University for racial discrimination. And that case is actually still ongoing. And with different plaintiffs, but ongoing. And it will continue to be ongoing. But let me say something. I reached out to several newspapers, TV. Mr. McBride responded back to me immediately. He is the contributing editor with the Jackson Advocate, great newspaper. He has written several articles on this particular case. He did the investigation. He knows a lot of the people that was involved. He helped me so much with helping me understand the dynamics of those that I was dealing with in Mississippi, the government, the local politics there. This is why I say, and not only that, but I'm sorry, Ernest, but you're not going to meet people like that takes that time out and give you that education. Because you know me, Ms.B., I like about the teaching. That's why I am so proud to have my friend on today, because we are going to be talking about Ethiopia. We are going back. See, I wanted to bring someone on like Mr. McBride, like Ernest, that can take us back and teach us about our history. He just taught me so much, and I'm proud of that. And let me be very clear about something about Ernest McBride. He is a civil rights icon in his own right, and that is no joke. So, so I'm gonna let out, because when Ernest talks, I do want you to let people know who got you out of jail. Okay.
Wait, hold up. All right, let's just stop right here. Everybody, his biography was like a application for a job. I heard so much about this man, and I Googled and I searched. He is so well hidden. If you don't hear it on this video, you may not hear it. But I knew it was out there. I just didn't know how to find it. So, Mr. McBride, I want to thank you for coming on, but I want to encourage you at our season in life to take advantage of the opportunity to share your experiences, because I looked and I saw nothing. So what encouraged you to have an interest in Ethiopia? I know you're a journalist and all of that, but tell us about your interest in Ethiopia.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I lost your signal. I've always had a strong interest because when I was in the Church of Christ junior year in high school, I joined the Church of Christ, came out of St. Mary's Episcopalian Church. And if you know the Church of Christ, not the Church of God in Christ, but the quiet, learning, reading, studying the text. That's what we did in the Church of Christ. And I ran across this passage in Acts that the first non-Jewish convert to Christianity was the Ethiopian ambassador to Israel. And I said, wow, the first Christian, Gentile Christian or non-Jewish Christian. And so I had an interest in it. And my dad was a newspaper publisher, commercial printer and all, the only one in the area for about 20 or 30 years here in Mississippi. And so I always had information from all over the world, all over the black intelligentsia available to me. And I was doing a lot of the proofreading for the books and other publications that he made. And so I just had a general knowledge of Africa and black people, especially, those black newspapers, the Defender, the Courier, and all the others that came down through here. Vicksburg used to be the commercial center of central Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi used to come to Vicksburg. Monroe, Louisiana came to Vicksburg to shop. And all the great musicians were here. So they were from all over the world. And here's a capstone of my interest in Ethiopia. When I jumped from theater arts to journalism, the first classmate, one of the 5 black members of my class of 1968, was a guy named Asefa from Ethiopia. And I got to know him, hanging out with him, and he would tell me a lot about Ethiopia. But at the time, it was Haile Selassie's Ethiopia. It was not the revolutionary Ethiopia. So I've been studying and I've been writing about Africa and especially the civil rights movement for years and years and years. 50 years. I can say that I've been involved. And I was very popular on the internet, say 15, 20 years ago, because I had some of the only information about the black troops in the Civil War. My article on Milliken's Bend was the first article dealing with black troops in the Civil War. Benny McRae, the webmaster of Lest We Forget, can tell you that. He's retired now, but we were hitting it off big back in 1996 when he put my article up as the first Civil War, black troops in the Civil War article. Until that time, black people have been ignored on the internet in terms of their service to the United States during the Civil War. But and since then, I've studied world history and African history. Plus, I was co-founder of the Black Student Union at Cal State LA. So I have a general interest in it, and I've read tons of books on Ethiopia. I've written about it before, and now G.E. Gofu, as I said, was my good friend for the past 5 years. He's an Ethiopian philosopher. We sit and talk all the time about it. And in fact, I came to learn a lot more about Ethiopia than most of the Ethiopians I knew in little Ethiopia out in Los Angeles. And I'm out there every year, and I want to especially put in a shout out to my friend Eyup Tedesi, who owns the Buna restaurant, and they made me the president of the Independent Republic of Buna. I was elected, duly elected on April 1st, April Fool's Day now, 3 years ago. And I take that seriously though. I am the president of the Independent Republic of Buna. And Buna in the Ethiopian means coffee. And as you know, coffee was invented in Ethiopia from the region Kaffe, K-A-F-F-E-E, yes, in Ethiopia. And plus I have studied the Ethiopian language, especially the alphabet. I think that every Black American, everybody identifying himself as an African, should learn the alphabet of the Ethiopian language, Amharic and Ge'ez and Tigray. Tigray is very important. We'll get to that later. But that's where I am. So for the past 50 years or so, 55 years, I have been, studying about Ethiopia, if not, directly, at least as a sidelight. And I have about 30, 40 books on the history of Ethiopia and, writings about Ethiopians and all. Yeah.
Hold up. You know what?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Ernest McBride, journalist.
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Your bio is unacceptable. That's all I'm going to say. That being said, I've heard so much about you. Brenda has asked me to reach out to you in the past about your knowledge of Black history. And I think it's such an honor to have you on today. And I am also going to upgrade the description of the show at the end, because I'm going to be able to take something from what you said to make it more valuable. But that being said, Brenda, he provided us with a scenario, a list of questions.
Oh yeah, I just got some. I am, like I say, I'm always blown away when I speak with Ernest.
I see why.
Yes, I told you he is dynamite. And but we're talking about Ethiopia. So, but this is something that I want to know. Should we call this East African nation Ethiopia, or I want to pronounce this right because I know that the pronunciation may be different. But is it Abstania? What should we be calling it, Ernest?
We should call it Ethiopia. The Abyssinia name came through Abyssinia.
Okay.
A lot of Ethiopians refer to themselves as Abyssinians, and that was the official title used in international circles, and geographers and all. Call it Abyssinia for many, many years. After the Arabs had become one of the dominant forces, not so much in Ethiopia, because Ethiopia rescued Muhammad's people when they were being persecuted and destroyed and killed off by his own tribesmen. We're talking about the original Muhammad, in 532, 632, They came to Ethiopia, and the king of Ethiopia gave them protection and told the Ethiopian authorities, not the Ethiopian, but the Arab authorities, you cannot come into my territory and bother these people. I will kill you if you try to remove them. That's how Muhammad knew that the king of Ethiopia was a just man. So he sent them in there. And sometimes I get caught up in my own.
No.
But okay. No. What should we call it? What should we call it? In 1800 BC, long before there was a Greek, an Arab, Muslim, Roman, or Englishman, or anything, 1800 BC, the king of Ethiopia was Ethiopus. And 100 years later, there was a second king, Ethiopus II, in 1700 BC, still 500-600 years before the Greek civilization ever evolved. And my friend Gorfu told me the name has a traditional sense of the burner, like the scorched earth policy. You know about Sherman in his March of the Sea. He had this so-called burnt earth policy. Well, apparently that's what the king Ethiopus was known for. In many days, in the past, many of our kings and rulers were named for their defining characteristic, like Caesar, Kaiser. The Kaiser of Germany, the Tsar of Russia, the Shah of Iran, all date back to Caesar, and that just meant the topmost man, the first man in Rome at the time, the top man. So back then, the king of the land that was sometimes referred to as Cush was Ethiopius the first, 1800 BC, and Ethiopia's second rule in 1700 BC. And that's where the name came from. Is Ethiopia has been, before any of these other nations came on board, Ethiopia existed. And they learned their lessons from lessons of civilization from Ethiopia. The first civilization, the origins of the human species was in Ethiopia, you know? So
Wow.
you'll have some questions about that later.
Right,
But anyway, I'll keep the answers short, but sometimes I have to give these backgrounds because people just find it incredible that there was actually a place called Ethiopia long before there was a Rome or Greece or Europe or whatever. The cradle of civilization really was Ethiopia.
Yes, yes. You
Yeah.
know what, Brenda, before you go further, I'm intrigued because, again, we're going to work on that resume, but I'm intrigued because those are some of the things that I am planning on approaching in one of my segments called not only I call it the Black Credit Report. We don't talk about Black history, the credit report, giving credit to the Black race, the royal race for what we've been overlooked for. And so there are a lot of things that, I stand in agreement with you on, and lack of knowledge has become a norm here for our race. So thank you so much for sharing. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask the questions and let you talk. And then when we run out of time, I will invite you back to explore the other questions, because I don't want you to leave out anything, because I knew you were dynamic based on what Brenda said, but I could just sit back and go mute and let you talk the entire 45 minutes left. So before we get another question, I said I was going to take a break at 20 after, 17 after. Let's go ahead and get that break out of now. And then we can let him talk for another 20 minutes without being interrupted. Okay.
Very good.
I'm loving it. And I love that. The first civilization. I love that. We need to understand that immensely we are the original race. So let me just stop. I'm getting ready to preach. I'm just, Lord Jesus, help me. I'm getting ready to take a break, everybody. I'm just so excited because we have the opportunity to get someone who is knowledgeable, not just about, we were slaves in shackles. We were royalty before then. So I'm sorry. Here's our break. Hey, everybody, while we're waiting for Ernest to settle down, I would like to tell you that you just saw a short commercial for Arthur Winter Giovanni. She is the sponsor of this episode today. Arthur Winter Giovanni, I've interviewed her. I'll replay her interview later, but she is a phenomenal author. But she's also a publisher of other people's books, and not just, I'm going to say, an author, but she likes to support those who have been in the correctional system, who are out of the correctional system, encouraging them that they have a voice. And she is a publisher of many of their books. And one of the things that I want to show you that you can find right there on Amazon is The Beholder, A Prisoner's Time to Shine. The back says, and I'm not going to read all of it, but this volume 1 and 2 collections of poetry from inmates and ex-offenders of various federal and state correctional facilities. We are people who, because of mistakes, are labeled as damaged goods. Well, I hate to tell you, but we are humans. We are mothers, we are fathers, we are sisters, we are brothers, we are husbands, we are wives, we are blessed to be alive. And it goes on and on. But Arthur Winter Giovanni, please look her up. I put the links there, and I'll play them again later. But Winter Giovanni has books, all of her books listed on Amazon. Just type her name in. If you need a book published, and please don't hesitate to call her. It doesn't matter whether you're in or out, getting ready to go in. juvenile, it doesn't matter. She wants everybody to be treated as a human, and they all have a voice. So that's author Winter Giovanni. She is the proud sponsor of the episode that you're now hearing now with our special guest, Ernest McBride. Welcome, Ernest.
Thank you very much. Good to be back, Ms.B.
Yes, indeed.
I got 2 B's. Hey, why am I out of the middle? I don't appreciate this. I was having fun.
That's all right. We got to keep an eye on you. You're special. We got to keep an eye on you. Now we're protecting you. How about that?
Good enough. All right.
You know, before we left on break, you were talking, and I know we have some questions, but I'm planning on asking you to come back, and I hope that answer is yes. But for right now, if you would mind going back and revisiting the statement that you made that the first civilization was Ethiopian. Is that correct?
Yes. We found, and archaeologists found, I think about 6-7 years ago, that the oldest evidence of village life was found just north of what's now known as Addis Ababa, dating back 80,000 years. That's the first evidence of a city, in history. 80,000 years ago. 80,000 years ago.
Wow.
It's an honor that you mentioned Addis Ababa, because I am going to interview Dr. Julius Garvey next Monday, and we're going to be talking about
son, right?
And we're going to be talking about trying to get his father's statue in Addis Ababa. And that is going to be some of the things that we're going to discuss on his interview, not tomorrow, but the next Monday at 1 p.m. So I am very much interested in our heritage, our history, and to have such distinguished guests such as you and Dr. Julius Garvey and others this month. I am going to make sure that we get it the promotion that it deserves. But right now, one of the things that I want to ask you as far as the civilization is concerned, then and now, you mentioned what it was like then. Can you tell us a little bit about Ethiopia now?
Ethiopia now went through a revolution beginning in 71 through 74. And Haile Selassie, who was a tyrant in certain regions, he hated some of his own people because they felt he had been there too long, and he was showing favoritism towards the Amhara, the Oromo, and several other tribes. But they have officially 84 tribes listed officially in the government of Ethiopia. I'm being interfered with. Excuse us.
And he's a journalist. He should have known to put that phone on silence. But I love him anyway.
Trying to I just declined the call. So the emperor, the king of kings, as he was called. Yeah, Ethiopia, I think, had about 13 different kingdoms at the time that Haile Selassie was elected or appointed emperor in 1931. I think it was 31. Ethiopia had 13 regions, and each region had a king, and so he had been the son of Ras Makonnen, who was the victorious general against the Italians in 1896, the Battle of Adwa. He had won, and so Haile Selassie, the son, his name was Rastafari, and you can tell from that Rastafarians worship Haile Selassie as the second coming of Christ, or as God himself. But he was appointed by the empress, who was, well, not the empress, but the regent, who was acting in the stead of her son, who was too young to rule as emperor. So he was appointed the leader of the empire, and eventually appointed emperor. And there are certain tribes and peoples among those 84 officially designated groups that did not want any king or emperor over them. And it's been that way for years and years and years. So they have a way of suppressing the people who disagree with them. And so And in some of the regions that was on the out with Haile Selassie, he allowed them to starve to death. There was a slight famine, but they had warehouses full of food. He would not distribute the food to these places. I forget the names of the specific regions, but and they were starving. And so that's when the military decided that they were going to make their move. They ousted Haile Selassie in '71, and eventually there was a group called the Derg. Their name in Ethiopian escapes me, but they were the ruling group. It was a commission, ruling commission, and they eventually appointed this very black man, Haile Mariam Mengistu, as the prime minister, the president. And so they were going through the revolutionary changed, and they invited all the students to come and let's redistribute the property. Let's get rid of these tyrants who had served under Haile Selassie, because they were just like slave masters. They had people working for years and years and years for free, without pay, starving them to death, And so after the revolution, they based their revolution on the Soviet model, the Marxist revolution, and Haile Mariam Mengistu. He's still alive today, but he eventually had to go outside the country for medical treatment, and they ousted him, and they brought charges against him, and they sentenced him to death. So it's to his benefit to stay out of the country right now. But to me, he was a very admirable leader, but there was nothing he could do about that widespread famine throughout the empire. And so people were starving, and you saw pictures of these little children out in isolated places, and the buzzards are just waiting until the child would die so they could eat him. Some black photographer got a Pulitzer Prize for that shot. Why didn't he get in there and save the child, rescue the child, instead of just waiting until the child died and the buzzards got in to eat him? Now that was an inhuman act on his part. They went through another phase in 70, between 80 and 82. Brenda, I sent you the background of this. The war between Eritrea and the central government of Ethiopia. Eritrea was captured by the Ethiopians. It was an independent. It was one of the republics of ancient Ethiopia, but the Italians were able to get in there and steal that territory back in 1886, and so they were planning to try to take the rest of Ethiopia, but the Ethiopians kicked their butts. Ras Makonnen kicked their butts in 1896 at the Battle of Adwa and told them stay out of here. But they came back in 1935 during World War II. And they just invaded, and they did occupy Ethiopia, but Haile Selassie escaped, went to London, and he stayed there, and fought on the side of the Allies during World War II. And but once he was deposed, I think in '74, he died conveniently, and everybody said he was assassinated by the revolutionary forces, but today we have 10 regions. They're like states. And we have the two independent or the chartered cities. Addis Ababa is very much like Washington, D.C. It's not it's above the nation, but yet at the same time, it's not identified with any of the other states. So just think of Washington, D.C. when you think of Addis Ababa. It's the national city, the ruling capital of the nation, and it was constructed from scratch by Haile Selassie at some point. I forget exactly when. And then you have the other chartered city. I forget the name of it right now, but I was trying to put it down on the paper. But that's what you got: 10 independent states. You got 10 semi-autonomous states, and then you have the two charter cities.
Now
So
let me ask you, but Ernest, let me ask you this question, because you said a lot, and so I want the listeners and the viewers to want to ask this. This is very important. Does Ethiopia have a special place in of course we know it is in world history, but in world history, in Black history, or in African history today?
In all three, yes. Once again, the human race, our species, originated in the area now known as Ethiopia 184,000 years ago. Probably earlier, but that's the time frame, because the bones that they had found dated back to 184,000 years. So there's nothing anywhere else on Earth compares to that. The fossils of let's say the Homo sapiens sapiens. It's the wise man thinking, the thinking wise man. You have Homo sapiens Neanderthalis, which we call the Neanderthal man, and you got the Pekingese and the other Homo sapien types. But the Homo sapiens sapiens, who we are, and all our brothers and sisters in Europe, Asia, elsewhere, we all date back to 184,000 years ago. Although some anthropologists say that the Europeans carried some of those Neanderthal genes, and so that's why they got these big heads and bad ideas, and they're wild and crazy, and they hate other people to the extent they do, because they still have those primitive Neanderthal genes, and the Neanderthals date back 1.5 million years, but they are extinct officially.
Let me ask you something, Ernest. I'm real curious about this. I do know that I hear this, what you're saying, a lot out of people, especially people that study Pan-Africans. But why isn't this more? I mean, what you are speaking, why isn't this just more known about in the Black community in our schools? What you're saying right now, it's like, go ahead, Benita, go ahead.
I gotta interject. You know why it's not happening? It's a spiritual denial. It is not meant for us to know who we are as the original race. Is not meant for us to stand up and accept responsibility for our heritage. It's a denial. And some people don't even realize it's deliberate. But I have to interject spiritually. That's what we're trying to overcome, because people don't understand when they say Satan came to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's not just about your house and your man either. So that's my intake. But yeah, it's a spiritual warfare. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, my take is that there are two forces at work, especially here in Mississippi, and this goes back to the Reconstruction or the post-Reconstruction era. How did Black people go from the top of the governmental food chain, you might say, in a place like Mississippi, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Texas, and Tennessee? Go from having Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, Speaker of the House of Mississippi, and all, in 1873. Go down to the absolute bottom, where a Negro is not even recognized as being a member of the human race. It is due basically to the two forces that were at work, and there was a J.A. Christman, the Judge J.A. Christman, a white judge who supported the Black cause during the Reconstruction era. And he said it was essentially moral idiocy on the part of white people who beat Black people down, and it was just plain Negro idiocy on the part of Black people who denied their own history, who accepted the white standards that Negroes were inferior, separate, but equal, but yet not, but inferior, not equal to the white man and all. So Negro idiocy, that's why. When you get people like and Elijah Muhammad, when I knew he was a fraud at the age of when I was 14 years of age, for him to come on and say that he was Muhammad and that he was a messenger, I had already learned about Muhammad. I knew that Muhammad existed back in 585 to about 630 AD, and that he was a messenger. They had a widespread favorable reputation among Africans, especially in Ethiopia. And he praised the Ethiopian king for giving him refuge, his people refuge. But here's this guy saying that he had been designated by another man who's called Fard Muhammad or something like that to be the messenger. How can you believe that when you got history there? Why didn't black people read and say, well, the real history says Muhammad was the messenger. He was the founder of the Islamic faith. So why are we listening to this broad out of we came out of where? Not Brooklyn. I think it was in Chicago first, but before that, and all these other bogus experts on black history or Negro history or colored history or whatever you want to call it. You got these phonies who come along. And they're spreading this propaganda, and people suck that stuff up, as opposed to just opening a text. Go online and look up the history of the various religions and ideas and people, and it's right there. There was a wonderful book that the first black female historian, I forget her first name, but her last two names was Dundee Houston. And the title of her book, 1934, 2 volumes, those wonderful Ethiopians and the Kushite achievements or something like that. I forget the exact title, but 1934. And today, her book, that was written way back in 1934 in the United States, is one of the main references that the Ethiopian historians themselves use to reassert their prominence throughout the history, the world history, black history, world history, and also European history. Yeah, wow. African history. Sorry. Yeah.
Brenda.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, I'm because I'm gonna go ahead and take that 20 minutes till break now because I want him to take a break because I'm just, you know what? I'm loving this. I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah, please.
I'm glad you do it. I'm glad you are loving it.
All right.
And this is Black History Month. And the thing about it, I've got people out in Los Angeles, Ethiopians, who are just anxious to get out and set the record straight, especially since Mr. Gofu came off with that, his version of the current situation in Ethiopia. So I'll be more than happy to come back, but I beg you, let me bring some ammunition with me next time. Well,
you ain't got to beg me. We're going to talk after this is over with. Y'all, let me tell you something. This is what you get when you get on live TV, live streaming. I'm Positive Ms.B, the realist, so I'm going to keep it real. We are coming back with more, and we're coming back loaded, and we're coming back on purpose to serve a purpose. And whether you like it or not, we are. And let me just do this. Let me just do this. Okay, hold on. Hey, it's being Positive Ms.B. I'm coming to you live. Okay, so we have an echo. Where's the echo? Anyway, we're coming to you live with our first episode of A Leader's Voice, the first Sunday of the month with Brenda Coles and her special guest. Oh my goodness, I want to call him a prophet, but Mr.
No,
Ernest
please don't do that. Please don't do that.
I'm
one of the most humble. I'm one of the most humble and modest, egocentric.
Yeah, we're going to talk about humility too, because we're going to talk about that. But right now, everybody, what you just saw was a clip of me, my morning show with Ms.B, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. East Coast time. I changed the time recently for personal reasons, but Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. East Coast time. You can find me on my Facebook fan page, Ms.B, Spiritual Realist. This week, I'll be talking about Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. The reason why I believe the Lord gave me that to talk about is because we have COVID. We have take the shot, don't take the shot, wear a mask, social distancing, shut it down, keep it open. We have so much going on. And then on top of everything else, we have still police brutality and racial discrimination and financial. We just got drama. But in the meantime, we have to be responsible for our behavior. And I want to talk about it's not the behavior of others, it's your behavior that determines your spiritual integrity, your professional integrity. How are you treating people? Are you kind to one another? You want to be treated differently from what you treat other people? What about a tenderhearted? So many people are one paycheck away from being limited resources. I don't like to call people homeless, but are you tenderhearted toward those who have less than you, who are going through things that you have never experienced? But that being said, that's Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. This week, we're going to be talking about Ephesians 4:32, the morning show with Ms.B, on my Spiritual Realist page on Facebook. And you can also hear it as a podcast on www.stormtalk365radio.com. What you're listening to now is Brenda Cole and her special guest, Ernest McBride. He is a historian. He is very modest. And I'm a
journalist. I'm a journalist with an interest in history.
You know what? I said what I said. You are journalist. You've been studying this stuff for 50 years. I am not in you know what? We're getting ready to act ugly, so I'm gonna let you go ahead on and keep talking because I got some words for you after this is over with. But Ernest, seriously, let's continue with the conversation because I want everybody to get as much as they can get out of it. We talked about Ethiopia then and now. We talked about the leadership. We talked about some not so well represented lack of integrity people, but let's move forward. Brenda, do you have another question?
I do.
Yeah.
Ernest,
ask me about the color, the black versus the brown versus the pretentious white people.
Okay,
in
well,
Ethiopia.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that.
Just talk about it. She don't need to ask you a question. Talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
I spoke about Colonel Mengistu, who was the head of the Ethiopian government for nearly 20 years. He came to the United States as under lower ranking officer in the Ethiopian army, still under the command of Haile Selassie. He came to the United States. I forget where he went, to Maryland or someplace, to study at one of the military academies. But off base, he was treated like an American Negro. Told you can't come here, you're just nothing. And here's a man who eventually rose to be the top general. And this man was, let's see, how do you compare him with? He was as black and beautiful as black can be,
Colin Powell?
No. Colin Powell's a half-white mulatto dude. No, I'm talking about Mengistu.
I'm talking about his rank.
I don't know about his wife, but Mengistu was as black as Garvey. Let's say that,
Okay.
And he became very sensitive to these pretensions back in Ethiopia, because the most influential of all the British archaeologists was named Flinders Petrie, and Flinders Petrie said the Ethiopians could not have been anything other than white because of all their inventions and their contribution to civilization. So they had to be white. And then the Abyssinian thing, when the Arabs became mixed into the bloodstream, Abyssinia really meant mixture. And from that, the Ethiopians developed the term Habesha, which meant the same as Abyssinian, mixed blood. And so the lighter skinned people, they internalized these white supremacist values, that the lighter skin meant that you were closer to white. And so they looked down their noses on their darker brothers. And so Mengistu, once he came back and got into power, he made damn sure that these so-called Habeshas would not be able to continue that propaganda thing that about their being members of the white race. They were black, he insisted. And then in 2009, Miss Ethiopia.
I wanted to ask you about that.
They're beautiful, black and beautiful, even blacker than Mengistu, from one of these tribes there. She is Miss Ethiopia 2009. And all these wannabe white people in Ethiopia, they just went crazy. Why you let somebody like that? That must have been a mistake. But and she suffered from the public denunciation. That because she was black, she could not be representative of Ethiopia. But the thing about it, these people in the West, even the Ethiopians themselves, for a long time, were fooling us, having us think that they were this one monotone, tan race universally.
Right.
And then they adopted the official count that they had 84 tribes. And then, now I studied languages, the linguistics of Africa. And during the time that I was studying, I found that Ethiopia had 250 languages, distinct languages, 250. And as I said, they only officially count 84. But where are those other 170 some Ethiopian tribes and people and linguistic groups? They're not on the books. They've been combined and classified with other major tribes in their area. And so the Habesha thing, you hear a lot of it. Go online and look at the Ethiopians here in the United States. You hear a lot about the Habesha, Habesha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they pride themselves on that. But these are people who had fled Ethiopia during or shortly after the revolution, and so they're bringing all these obsolete values with them. And so people here in the United States are getting the impression that, hey, that's what the Ethiopians are. No, the Ethiopians are not Habeshas. And also they've denounced Colonel Mengistu because he fled to Zimbabwe during the time that Mugabe was still in power, and Mugabe welcomed him. But the thing about it, he's got a very bad reputation among Ethiopians everywhere, simply because he happened to come on the scene and took control of the revolution. But the thing about it, starvation and all was going downhill. And his closest ally was the Soviet Union. But the Soviet Union tanked in 1988, 89. And so there he was, kind of like without a friend in the world. And so he's in Zimbabwe now. I like the man. But the thing about it, the course of history has proven that we don't control things, that nature steps in with her COVID-19, earthquakes, storms, and other phenomenon that we have no control over. But I still respect the man, and I really appreciate the fact that he got the Ethiopian nation back on track. You're not white people. You're not this Habesha group. You are black Africans,
Right.
just like the other Africans in Nigeria, in the southern parts of Ethiopia. Oh, my favorite Ethiopians. You've probably seen them in the movie somewhere. People make fun of them. Those women with those big plates in their lips.
Yes.
Yeah, there are two tribes. They're called the Surma and the Mursi. Now, they're both cousins, first cousins in terms of tribes, tribal membership. But one has a slight advantage over the other. I think the Surma are slightly above the Mursi. The Surma take a lot of the Mursi in as indentured servants, and the Surma might marry a Mursi woman, but a Mursi man cannot marry a Surma woman. It's just the class differences, But they're the same people, and they both walk around buck naked. The men do, and many of the women. And they carry these long sticks. It's something Freudian about them. They have these long poles, and they walk around and they just wail the shit out of one another. Whap! Just on the spur of the moment.
Lord.
All the time.
Hello. Excuse me. We are a faith-based network. So I apologize for his passion. The language is not representative of Ms.B. or Storm Talk 365. But I respect what he's saying.
I should have said Scheitzes. That's a German term for doo-doo. You know, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But my favorite people, the Mursi and the Surma. I want to go there when I get to Ethiopia.
But let me ask you. That's going to segue right into my question. Where, if you was to go, where are some of the places to go that you definitely want to visit?
Well, Addis Ababa. Also like to go to Harar. Harar is the Muslim capital. And I like to go to the Tigray region. Tigray is where Axum was. Hello?
I'm here.
You understand this? That the Tigray nation, the Tigray region is the enemy of the central government right now. They've gone in, the central government has gone in and crushed the leadership there, expelled all of them from all governmental posts, and they have suppressed the Tigray region. But the Tigray region was the one that brought all the glory to Ethiopia during the Aksumite kingdom. Why is it that we never had the association between Aksum, which was one of the most marvelous kingdoms ever in all history, in all the world, and then the Tigray region? Why? They've always kept it separate. In fact, you would get the impression when you read about Axum that Axum really wasn't a part of Ethiopia, but it was. It was. This is how the white people miseducate us. You know, it's like taking Washington D.C. out of the United States and saying this was one of the greatest achievements. Toussaint, or whatever his name, built this, and then he had this Negro clockmaker who assisted him in laying it out. But Washington is a wonderful place. And don't even mention the United States. It's a part of the United States, you know. So that's what they've done with these kingdoms like Axum, and the other I was thinking of was a famous kingdom. It was run by Kandake. Kandake's were like Cleopatra's. They all had titles. Cleopatra 1, Kandake 1, 2, and I think it was Kandake 4 or 5 who actually defied the Roman invaders to come into her territory, and she scared the hell out of them. They could not the stuffing out of them. They didn't come, although they went as far as Merowe. Yeah, that's what it was. Merowe. That's another famous kingdom in the land of Kush, which was ruled by the Ethiopians. All right, but let's just get away from that. He scared the heck out of them because Ethiopians have had this long practice of when they capture their enemies, or even on the battlefield, once they kill them, they separate their genitals, not the genitals, but their scrotum from the body. This is a sign of achievement, and most Ethiopian soldiers were not allowed to marry unless they had another man's, genitals hanging from the neck. And the women would tell them, hey, you better go out and get me some 2 bayitos, amigo, or I'm not going to marry you. I'd rather marry another woman than to marry somebody who doesn't have any bayitos. Bayitos mean little balls, if you understand.
We are, let me say this, Ernest. We are only 6 minutes within the hour left for the time. What I want to do is ask you, because I'm going to tell you, I know Brenda, Ms.B is going to be bringing you back, and because you got so much to give us. And I want to thank you for coming on today. But in this little time that we have left, what do you, is there anything you want to say to the viewing audience and before we leave?
I would like to say that we stand at a point in history where Mother Nature and the forces of the universe have stepped in to allow us to have a new beginning and a renaissance, if you wish, especially Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Put aside all that crap about the Boule Society and all that, these fraternities and sororities about their being so hoity-toity, a special place and all that. Flush that down the drain, because it's not doing anything but destroying the relationships and the achievement and the future and the ideals of Black people. And if you remember Steve Coakley, He died in trying to expose these people, and even W.E.B. Du Bois himself, who wrote the defining article for the for those people. What do we call them? Those sororities and fraternities. He wrote the defining piece called "The Talented Tenth," but he wrote that in 1903, the year before they came into existence. The Boule came into existence. But in 1928, 29, he wrote a retraction saying these people are phonies. They have no program to help black people other than to help themselves. They have no plans for development, no development of business or education or anything of that night. So he denounced the very people that he had helped promote back in 1903, 1904, because that's when the Boule came into existence. You remember, and all these other, you have 4 female secret societies and 4 males. They call sororities and fraternities that derive from the Boule. And now they don't know it, but they are the children, and they're manipulated and defined by this one fraternal group, which is we call the Boule. You can look them up. I forget what they call Phi Delta something, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what we need to do. Get rid of all this scum, this trash, and these pretentious people who are worse than white people when it comes to holding black people down, you know. And so we've got plans here in Vicksburg to reopen the old civil rights headquarters, the Piazza City, which is run by black men. They want to tear the old civil rights center down rather than refurbishing it and opening up to show what good work we did. Oh, one thing about the civil rights, it goes back to 1866 with the passage of this first civil rights legislation, 1866. And in 1872, Thomas W. Cardozo became the first black man in Mississippi to be elected to a statewide post. And that was the representative or the delegate to the first Congressional Civil Rights Conference in 1872. Thomas W. Cardozo, the great uncle of Paul Robeson's wife.
Wow. Wow.
He's the one who brought the message. He's the one who brought the message. The black and tan revolution to Mississippi, to Texas. Black and tan revolution. We need to discuss that next time.
We need to discuss that. But before we go, I want you to tell our audience here on A Leader's Voice who actually got you out of jail.
Oh, it was my friend Medgar Evers. Well, actually, I was arrested for going in the white side of the bus station here in Jackson, Mississippi. I was in the Army. I had joined I left Mississippi, went to California, dropped out of college, joined the Army. They sent me back south to Georgia, and I said, "Hey, I'm going." This is the end of '61, beginning of '62. Yeah, January '62. So I'm going to test the laws. You know, go in. I'm protected under the interstate passengers law. The guys refused to sell me a ticket to Vicksburg to see my mother. They arrested me, put me in jail. I said, I want to talk to Army legal assistance. They said, no, we don't have anything like that. The captain picked up the phone and called somebody and said, hey, we got another one down here for you. You want to handle him? He gave me the phone, and that was Medgar Evers, my old friend from Vicksburg, 5 years. Medgar Evers' wife is from Vicksburg, Mississippi. I knew the family and all. One of her aunt was my teacher. And so he asked if he wanted me to have the NAACP involved. I said, of course I want you involved. Get me out of here, you know. And so they sued the city of Jackson on my part. Medgar was leading the way. And we won the case. I didn't find this out until 20 years later. But, you know, so much was going on then. I got shipped overseas in the Army to France, Germany, and Turkey. And all that got lost. But Medgar was both my mentor, and he was a big brother.
And that's why I want, we are at the 1 o'clock hour, but I want to thank you. And that's why I say, I know you are a civil rights icon. I know you're an icon in your own right.
Look, I play it down. I play it down. And I make a mistake by playing it down because other people who are more undeserving pick it up and they run with the ball that I should have. But the thing about it, you don't just promote yourself. It was a movement. And when you look at the consequences of it.
And that's right. You ain't Ernest, but I can promote you. But anyway, we're gonna end for the day. We're gonna end because I already know you. We ain't gonna keep talking. But Ernest, I want to thank you. I love you are my friend. I know I can pick up the phone and call you, brother, for anything dealing down in the South. I know you have me. And I want to thank you so much for everything you have done for me.
Yeah, and put in a few good words to Ms.B for me also. I'm not a wordy guy. I'm a very modest guy.
Understand very well. She knows she got a gem on her hands. So
all right, are we off air right now?
We still have.
Okay, my favorite statement, motto that I learned way back when I was about 10, 12 years old. He who knows not and knows he knows not is a child. Teach him. He who knows not and knows not he knows not is a fool. Shun him. He who knows but knows not he knows is asleep. Awaken him. But he who knows and knows he knows is a wise man or woman. Follow them. That's what I want to be. I want to be that wise person who knows he knows and knows he knows. All right?
I love it. Thank you so much, Brother Ernest. Ms.B, thank you, audience. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Leader's Voice. And I'll see you next month in March.
Aren't we going to get back on the air in February? Black History Month? To deal with the Ethiopian history?
You're going to talk to me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.